everybody. Welcome to another episode of Alto Call. I am your host, Tane, here for another episode for season 18, 19. Did I forget the season? Episode 6. We are here for that. And before I get into that and introduce my guest for today, just a little housekeeping for you guys. I know ads can be so annoying, so I just want to remind you that you can listen ad-free on Patreon, patreon.com/altocall MAFS. And before I get into that, I wanted to share something with you guys. As many of you know, a lot of people across the country are losing their SNAP benefits today. And I just want to encourage everyone listening, just do something kind, help anyone in need if you can, whether it's offering a gift card to someone in need, volunteering at a food bank, sharing links of restaurants offering meals, or just donating money. Anything you do, a little goes a long way. It never hurts to be kind in this very unkind world. It was just on my heart to share. So just, if you can, do something. If you can't, share with someone else who can. Okay. And now I will introduce my guest. I'm excited. I couldn't have had better guests for today's episode. The best dog mommy and daddy, soon to be mommy and daddy to the Thelt twins. I hope I said that right.
You
One
did.
half is a friend of the pod and a vet at yapping with me about MAFS. The other half is making his debut, and it's Chris and Nicole from season 16. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you guys feeling? Congratulations again. How are you?
Thank you. We're good. We're just in full on baby prep mode. We just did some maternity photos. We are sitting in the room with our stroller and car seat that I'm trying not to walk without the baby, but I just want to play with my toys, you know?
Yeah. And how are you feeling, Chris? Coming on, yapping about this season of Maps from the other side.
I'm feeling really good, and like I said, we're trying for children. We didn't expect two coming on here, but again, it's a blessing, and it's amazing that we got one of each.
Yeah.
So we're just thrilled to invite them to the world when they're ready to come and be here. But other than that, yeah, just full on baby prep.
Yeah. We're so happy for you guys. I think when I saw it, I was like, I gasped. So congratulations again.
Thank
Uh,
you.
like we said, this episode is going to be very dog heavy, and I think it's a full family affair. You guys have the dogs here with you, so
Hmm.
We do. Yes, they can sense things are changing around here, so they're extra needy. And us being in a room with the door closed is just not acceptable to them anymore. So they're in the room with us. If you hear panting, they're okay. They just want to know what's going on. They want to voice their opinion because they are watching this season with us.
that's just your contribution to this
Yeah.
podcast. Okay, so I ask everyone who comes on, what are your feelings about the season so far and the move to Peacock? And guys, I know it's season 19 that we are talking about. What are your thoughts on the season so far?
So far, actually, I really like the format. I kind of think it's a lot more digestible than our season
Mhm.
was. Our season was like 30 episodes, and
Mhm.
it seemed like a lot. I mean, I kind of do miss the weekly episodes, but it's kind of
Yeah.
nice that if you do want to binge, you can binge. But it's following a lot of the Love Is Blind drop, is what it seems like. So
Yeah.
it's easier for people to kind of stay engaged. And me and Nicole were just talking about the other day is like we're hooked in on this season. This
Yeah.
season has a little bit of everything, and the way that they drop the episodes kind of keeps you wanting more.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's much easier to follow. I feel like when it was every week, 2 hours a week with commercials, I would lose interest or I wouldn't know what happened last week. So now I'm fully invested. I love that they made the switch. We have Peacock with ads, but the commercials are like 60 seconds.
Mhm.
And for the actual season, I'm really into it so far. There's love, there's drama, there's a lot of people or couples in different stages, but they're all kind of having the same mindset. Like they all want to make it work. I don't know that it
Yeah.
will, but they're all trying. So I'm hooked. This is honestly my favorite season in a while, including ours, because, ours was a little different.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. There's a lot of conflict resolution. Episode 5 was the first time I was thinking about maybe it's not a negative, but seeing the effects of the flash forward where we're missing certain things. Like they'll have a fight, quickly they've made up, and sometimes we're like, "Wait, what was it about? Is it the same thing?" Because they did film it for Lifetime and they're trying to condense it and
Right.
make it fit, for Peacock. Again, I'll take it this way over how it was, but I'm enjoying it also.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I'll say I do miss the after parties. I think those were
Yes.
very insightful in terms
Yes.
of like what you were seeing, and you got a little more of a behind the scenes. I wasn't on very many after parties because I didn't really bring drama, but
That's
but
what I'm here
but
for.
overall, like I kind of do miss the after parties because it kind of gave you that kind of look behind the curtain, so to speak, and a little more
Yeah.
clarity on certain situations.
Yes, I agree. It filled in a lot of blanks
Yes.
for us for that. Okay, jumping into the episode, it's their last day. They're done with the honeymoons. We're about to get into the drama and headed back to Austin. For anyone wondering where they were staying, it's called the Gamboa in Panama.
Hmm.
And I do want to point out, just because I've been talking about this a lot, that when they were moving in, I did see Will give Brittany affection. He grabbed her from behind because, again, I'm up and down on how he feels about her. But a quick, before we get to their segment, what do you guys think about the attraction level? Do you think Will is attracted to Brittany?
I do. I think he's just a person who is not used to showing his emotions or his feelings. So I think he does like her, but he's just not able to give her what she needs. So that's where they're butting heads. But I guess he's trying. I mean, it seems like, to your point, he showed something. But I think he likes her. I just think
Yeah.
he's a very closed off person or just not used to expressing his emotions, which I don't know how you get this far without doing that, but some people are just like that.
Yeah. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, to me, I think honestly, it could be a little bit of camera shy. Some people do act a little bit differently in front of a camera. Maybe, they're a little more reserved than what they normally be. So that's kind of what I get a feeling of. But also, I think he's just really laid back. So,
Mm.
like, he's saying he really doesn't care about something. I think that's true. I mean, I can relate to that because she got frustrated with me at times with that. But overall, like, um, I think that they just need to be a little bit better on communicating. But
Mhm.
again, I think that's kind of why they're a match. I think they kind of balance each other out. Like she seems like a little bit more of a stronger personality than he is.
Mhm.
But I mean, he is. I'll say I think he's even more reserved than I am. He's
Oh,
very
for
laid
sure,
back.
for sure.
He is very laid back on that, but we'll get into them later on. Let's start with Rhonda and Pat. So she has two dogs, and she brings up yet again, continuing from episode 5, how she has not shared space with anyone in 25 years. I mean, you've participated in MAFS. I've watched it long enough. If they're bringing this up over and over and over again, it's going to be a thing.
Right.
So I spent the episode just waiting for the bomb to drop, which it did, but they apparently have a safe word, and it so happens to be pineapple, and you guys are here today.
I know. Our producer actually texted us when he was watching. He was like, "Oh my god, their safe word is pineapple." That was our safe word that we never had to use because thankfully I'm not too much for this man, but I think I go back and forth with I like having older couples because it does show different dynamics, but I think it also gives a lot more time to build these habits, and she hasn't lived
Yes.
with someone in 25 years. And I know Chris and I hadn't lived with a significant other before moving in together, but we didn't have 25 years in between living with someone to deal with. So
Yeah.
I think she's just very like, let me put it all out there. I haven't lived with someone. If there's any issues, I can blame it on that. But she's she's quite a handful,
Yeah.
I would say, to put it nicely.
Yeah. It just occurred to me that the safe word was for if when they fight. I did when you just said that was your safe word for you guys. I was just like, oh, it's for when they fight because I thought it was like for their love life. That was what I
Oh no, I
anticipated.
think theirs
It
was for
makes sense.
when
Yeah.
like their fight. Ours was more for when I'm being too much, and if
Mhm.
Yeah.
Chris didn't want to hurt my feelings,
Yeah.
just say
Me
that.
too.
But
Which I've
Yeah.
never used to date. So I've not
Good
used
to
it.
date,
job.
you think now's the time to start whipping it out?
Just saying, I
Good
haven't used it.
job. I think that Rhonda is having, what is it called? A wedding hangover. I know she didn't plan a wedding. I know she didn't do all that. The reality seemed to have hit her a ton. Like the high of the wedding, the fun of it, and now it's like time for the marriage. And for me, I just feel like the way she just regressing is like, oh my God, we need to be separate. We need to do this. Where is this coming from for her? I haven't watched, the next episode, but for now, that's what I'm thinking, is going on with her.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think Pat's a very understanding guy, and I think he communicates very well. And I don't know, I kind of go back and forth with this one because it seems like Rhonda, she talks all about like, hey, you need to ask more about me, me,
Mhm.
me.
Yeah.
but then she's not really getting to know him by that. So it's almost kind of like she wants him to be more engaged in asking about her. But then it's like, to me, I'm like, well, when are they going to talk about Pat? Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's kind of conflicting there. And I also feel like I think she has some things she just needs to work through. In all honesty, it seemed like she had some past traumas potentially and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
is completely fine. But this process does bring all that stuff to the forefront, like you would never believe. So
Yeah.
it's totally understanding. But I think it's something where I don't know. I think she might need to work on a couple things for them to like really be able to get back to them.
Yeah, and it goes back to what Nicole said, right? Because at that age, like, what are you? She's 63. You're coming in, everybody comes into a relationship with, I hate saying the word baggage, but with past experiences. Let me
All
put it
right.
that way. And at 63, you have a ton of experiences that you're coming in with. And is it going to change now or is it going to be harder to change? That's where I'm like, that might be a con.
Yeah, I go back and
Yeah.
forth with that. Like she has more knowledge, but she also has more years of negative experiences.
Yeah. It's still
I
there.
mean, don't Dr. Pepper and her husband live separately? Maybe they should bring her in to
Yeah.
talk to them.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good point because they did say we need to talk about this later, and it felt like maybe that might be an option. Like, are you okay with us living separately? But what's the point if you're doing
Yeah,
that?
Yeah.
I mean, I also agree too. Like older couple, you feel like they would want to kind of be more wedding bliss and
Yeah.
Yeah,
living together and all that stuff. But it's almost
yeah,
like I like my space. I don't really. I want you to
yeah,
be a part of it, but not actually with me, living with
yeah.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Also
And
logistically, like they both own their own homes. Like for us, we had apartments, we leased them, so it was kind of a pain, but we figured it out. But if we both owned our own home, I would think it would be harder to just let me move in with you and maybe sell my home after 2 weeks of marriage. So
Yeah, that's true.
maybe her holdup is just like her home seems very special to her.
Mhm.
yeah.
So maybe it's less about Pat and more about her giving up control or inviting someone else into this home she worked so hard for. But who
So
knows?
it's questionable. I didn't know if he owned his own home because I got the impression he's living with his mom in his mom's
Oh,
Right,
house.
right,
that's
right.
true.
And so he's moving in with her, which they just said casually. It wasn't a thing, but it kind of raised my eyebrows like, oh, okay. Like, I want to know what's happening to his mom. I've been asking that
Yeah.
question from the very beginning he said it. I'm like, so what's happening to mom? Because it's a huge change. So I
Where's
don't
she
know.
gonna live now?
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. But then she brings up again about them living in a shared space, but she's like, it's a conversation I don't want to have today. So thank God the experts are coming in to come see them, and they get Dr. Pia, and they share. They have bumps, they had good times, and Dr. Pia tells her to talk about it more. And Rhonda says she's grateful that he recognizes when there's an opportunity to grow, and she truly feels like he cares about her and them. And Pat is like patting himself on the back and is like, I feel like I've been intentional about listening to you. And she does what she does and cuts him off and says, I have an example. We were just talking about riding bikes, I'm telling you, and it feels like you don't follow up with, oh, how do you know them? Instead, it's, I know guys too. And she feels like he's still trying to prove to her that he has his act together. And Dr. Pia pauses her and is like, can you explain? And she says she doesn't feel heard. I, I'll pause here, and this is where I don't know if it's the fast forward that confuses everything, but it was a lot of things at the same time. How does him just mentioning, "Oh, my guys probably guys," mean that she doesn't feel heard? But also, I remember she called him insecure, and she's trying to prove something to her. I didn't follow this whole thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. It was very confusing for everyone watching, but I don't think it was so much about the fast forwarding and more about like we were sitting there watching, waiting for her to bring up the real issue. And at the
Yeah.
end of it, she kind of got to this is how it's been in my past relationships. So I
Mhm.
think she truly was projecting all of her feelings
Yeah.
onto the situation. Like he didn't listen to, even though he was listening, he was having a conversation. He just, I guess, didn't give her exactly what she wanted to hear. But I think she took that and was relating it to her past relationship. And then even with him pointing it out in front of Dr. Pia, she got very defensive because it reminded her of past relationships. So I don't even think she's focusing on her and Pat so much as how is this similar to my last relationship where I
Relationship.
didn't feel good, which is an awful feeling. I mean, we've all felt that likely in relationships, but I don't even think it has a lot to do with Pat at all. I think it was more her, and how Chris said she has things she needs to work on. I don't think he was even part of the equation. He was just the trigger that reminded her of how she had felt in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah. I mean, he does say that he's open. I agree with you, and everything that you said. But Dr. Pia, I think I just wanted to point out how Dr. Pia pushes him or her and was like, that's a PC answer. You have to say
Yeah.
what you're feeling. So I appreciate that she did that because I don't think I even realized that he was holding back. I just thought that's how Pat is. Like, he's just really nice. And he's like, it's not really a big deal. I can deal with it. So he actually says what he is. And he says that the word is too strong, but he feels attacked. But he knows that she's direct, but then he's a people pleaser. And she does ask Rhonda, like, do you know what a safe space is? And he says that it doesn't elicit a strong response. I can understand that it's not a nice thing to hear from your husband that you're not a safe space, but what is the line? Like, how does he express that he doesn't feel safe this early in their marriage when they don't know each other?
Yeah, I mean, it was honestly kind of a frustrating scene to watch, in all honesty,
Oh,
because it felt like she was treating him like a child, first
yeah,
of all, like saying, "You're not doing this, you're not doing that,"
yeah.
and pointing out everything and kind of going back to it. And it was almost like he couldn't do any right, in all
Mhm.
honesty. And that's a frustrating place to be if you feel like you can't do any right. And you're trying to open up, and she wants him to open up, but yet then when he does open up, then she retreats back, gets super defensive, and starts crying. And it's a whole thing where, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was like, that was a situation that brought up like past traumas for me and past
Mm,
relationships,
mm.
not with this lovely lady, but with past ones where like I had some toxic relationships, and it was like I know that feeling of just kind of shutting down,
Yeah.
not being able to do that. And so far Pat hasn't done that, and I commend
Mm.
him for it, because I don't know. Most people would probably shut down in that type of situation, just be like, I don't even know what to say anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is hard. I know if I had heard in week 1 that I wasn't creating a safe space, there's no right way to say it. There's no right way to take that information, but I do think the way that they showed it at least was healthy because he said, "I don't feel safe," and then Dr. Pia followed up with what would make you feel safe, and he was able to share that. A mature person would be able to take that as maybe not welcome criticism, but constructive
Mm.
and something to work on, but I don't think there's a way to relay that information to someone who's not really hearing it. So it
Yeah.
was very frustrating because, and I mean, I've talked about Dr. Pia till I'm blue in the face. I don't personally love our experience with her, but I was really impressed with how she handled this situation because she was making Pat be direct and she was
Mhm.
following up with the questions of like, this is where we are. How can we get to a better place?
Yeah.
It wasn't just out there. It was like, we're here, but how can we improve? So
Yeah.
something for them to work on.
Yeah, I mean, no better place or time to get him to say what he needs to say than with her present so that, they can act on it and realize what happens with that. But I was surprised by her response, Rhonda, that is, because
Yeah.
Pat has given her grace this whole time. She has not criticized, maybe pointed out lovingly things that she wants him to improve. And he's taking it and he's like, I'm taking notes, I'll do this. And the minute he says something, her whole energy shift, and she's just like, this is shitty, this has happened in other relationships, and she's just saying the F word everywhere,
Oh,
which
yeah.
just elevates everything and is kind of disrespectful. How can I fucking change if he doesn't tell me? And I'm like, wait, so you can dish it but you can't
Mhm.
take
Mhm.
it? That's not
100%.
fair.
Yeah.
To that situation. So Dr. Pia tries to tell her, like, he is not your ex. Like, you need to just take that out of the equation. And she's like, yeah, I don't care, but I've heard it before. And to your point, Nicole, she just wasn't having it. And how do you get someone to a place? I hate bringing up the age, but at 63 to be
Right.
like, you got to switch up now. It's going to take a while and definitely more than 8 weeks to have that happen.
Well, and to me, it's just kind of crazy with this one. It's. I think they need more expert involvement with these two, because, in all honesty, like from watching it, I was like, why are there this many issues with this couple? There shouldn't be,
Mhm.
because he's been super understanding, super nice, in the beginning, she was all about him, super excited. But then it's like the nitpicking started on the honeymoon and it just carried over. And then it's almost like when they got home, and I get it, like there's a lot we didn't see, and it could be like, oh, wow, like I literally just married a stranger. Like, so
Yeah.
all this stuff could be hitting you and overwhelming you. And
Yeah.
then thinking about, like Nicole's point about her safe space at home and shared space and like not wanting to share with him. She hasn't shared in so long. So now she's like, oh, I literally might have to share the space with this person that I just met. So I get she's probably just overwhelmed, but I just think that she just kind of needs to talk things through more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think they should have had Dr. Pepper? Or does it
Um,
matter?
I think they will have Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Pepper.
Okay.
The way they did it with us, and they might be either showing it. No, they're probably not. They're probably just filming differently than when we did it. But for us, it was like everyone met with Pastor Cal on this day. Everyone met with Dr.
Mm-hmm.
Pia this day. Everyone met Dr. Pepper this day.
Uh,
So it does look like they switched it up because even in the last season, it looks like Pia and Cal kind of split forces. But I think they are going to meet with Pepper. It's just not yet.
not
So
yeah. Okay. Okay. I see what you're saying.
And
Um.
honestly, we were super impressed with Pastor Cal, like for the two
Oh.
couples
he's
that
the
he did.
best. Oh
Oh
my
Like
God.
yeah.
he resolved those conflicts like
Yes.
immediately, and it was crazy to see the shift in those couples. And we're a little partial because we really enjoyed our time with Pastor Cal, especially
Yeah.
like I felt like he helped us big time through the
Yeah.
process, and so it was kind of cool to see him do that. And then I, like she said, I didn't have any problem with Pia either. I think Pia did a good job with Pat and Rhonda in terms of like
Yeah.
highlighting things. But again, kudos to Pastor Cal because I think he did a phenomenal job with the other two couples.
Yeah. I think I tweeted like I don't even know the man. I was just like, I'm so proud of him. Like he was dropping gems
Yeah.
all over on there. Okay, so Pat is like, I don't see her personality as a negative, and he just has to work on how he receives it, and he wants to learn because he really does love her. And that sounds nice, but I raise my eyebrows at that because it's not sustainable for you to be the one always giving in. Like
Right.
you keep saying, I'll work on it. No, you can say whatever you want. It's okay. You said something, you weren't mean about it, and it's okay to put that and work together about it. So she says she believes him, but she feels unsafe. Okay. So
Yeah.
I don't know what you do with that because of course you want her to be safe, but it just feels a little like backing him in a corner. What can he say after this? Nothing. Because we
Mhm.
want to keep you safe. So I don't know. But Rhonda's like, after Dr. Pia leaves, she's like, I'm going for a walk. She slams the door
Yeah.
and she's frustrated and she just surmises that he is frustrated and shut down because of his past relationship. And this is a question I've been asking. To our knowledge, his relationship failed because he wasn't having enough sex. But she has alluded to the fact that there's more. She said before that his past relationship fucked him up, and the way she makes it seem is like there's so much more that we don't know. But why would his past relationship shut him down? I don't know what that piece is, I guess, for me.
Yeah. And her saying it, I'm sure with everyone, there's things we're not seeing. Like that
Yeah.
is, even if you watch
Mhm.
35 episodes of a season, there's always
Mhm.
things you're not seeing. But for her to say it versus him, is this just
Mm.
what she's thinking happened?
Yeah.
The only person who was in that relationship is Pat and who he was in the relationship with. So I don't know if that's just her interpretation of the relationship. But
Yeah.
again, I don't think most of this has to do with Pat. I think most of
Yeah.
this is how she felt in her past relationship and how it's bringing up how she feels now. But it's still so new. Like they don't know each other. They
Yeah.
have to give like 90% of the first 2 weeks. You have to just assume things are going to be misunderstood, miscommunicated, and then every week it's a little less grace because you
Yeah.
get to know each other. But they've just been home for one day.
I mean,
Yeah.
to me, it feels like projecting. It feels
Yeah,
like she's
Yeah.
projecting
100%.
her insecurities on him and to like I don't want to say blame him, but kind of. And again, I think she just kind of needs to look inwards and like figure some
Yeah.
things out because overall, like I think Pat is a very good, understanding guy, and I think they can work, but
Yeah.
now it feels a lot like self sabotage, to be honest.
Yeah. She just needs to get out of the I call it buyer's remorse. Like it's just like, oh my God, I jumped into this wedding. She just needs to let it be and let it breathe, and they'll be okay.
Mhm.
Pat is just enjoying his cheese and the charcuterie board, and she's outside going like, I don't know how to get out of the loop. I need to take care of myself. I need to get away. This is the last we see of their scene, but I suspect that she's going to break what for me is a huge cardinal rule on MAFS: do not sleep outside of your house or
Yep.
go back home. And I think that's what she's going to do, and I'm not happy about that.
I agree with you. Like you shouldn't act like there's an option to get out
Yeah.
unless you really are
Mhm.
unsafe. That's your home. You live there.
Mhm.
You stay there. Period.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's causing the loop, but I
Yeah.
don't know.
It's a self-made loop.
Right. Right.
All right, guys. I'm gonna take a quick break, and I'll be right back to talk about Brittany and Will. All right, we are back. First thoughts on Brittany and Will. What do you think about them so far? And
They're
then we
very,
shared some
very
before.
hard to read.
Mhm.
I think I'll say for everyone this season, I think everyone seems to have good intentions. Like I'm not getting the vibe that either one of them is there for fame or whatever. I
Mhm.
think they want to make this work. I think they just have such big hurdles with communication. And anytime they take a step forward, they take 1,000 steps back, which is very
Mhm.
frustrating as a viewer because you can see it unfolding and you
Yeah.
could see what she wants and needs. And you could see that he's not providing it, not as a negative to him. It's not like I think he's a bad guy or anything. I just think he's naturally not giving her what she's saying she wants and needs.
Yeah.
But so for him, he has to do more, but that's also frustrating because for him to always have to do more when it seems like she's not willing to accept less, there's a big disconnect. So I I want everyone to work. I always say that every season. I don't see this working, but I don't how am I going to phrase this? It's not because I think either of them will do anything wrong or bad. I
Mhm.
just think they ultimately will not be able to get over the lack of communication
Mhm.
in the 8 weeks.
Yeah. I think they're incompatible.
Yeah.
They're good intentions, but they cannot meet in the middle
Right.
because they're just not capable of meeting in the middle, no matter how much they want to. But and it's just if it's frustrating for us to watch, I can't imagine how exhausting it is to be in that couple and start stop every 5 seconds with that.
Well, like I don't think there's attraction issues whatsoever. They both have said they were very attracted to each other and
Mhm.
have shown it. Obviously, they've had their intimacy issues, but it seems like they're working on that.
Mhm.
For me, though, I think she just needs someone more assertive who makes decisions because that seems like the core issue of what she wants. She seems to want someone who will make a decision and care about the things that she cares about. And with him, I mean, she's just saying she makes fun of it all the time, but he's just nonchalant about everything and doesn't seem to
Yeah.
have opinion either way on literally anything. And that's what's frustrating her. So I think she just wants someone who is definitely just more assertive.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've said from the beginning, they're a very, 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 very extreme version of us in the sense where Chris is very laid back and I'm more assertive and I have more things that I know I want, I know I need.
Mhm.
But I was able to vocalize that pretty quickly and he was able to cater to that. So in the situation where, she was feeling rejected by him, I would have very easily said, I felt rejected. Is that how you're feeling or is this just how I'm perceiving it? And Chris would have said, no, I'm very attracted to you. I just think based on our first situation, maybe we should take a break and talk about it more instead of just jumping into the physicality again. And we would have been fine. But for them, it turned into a bigger issue. So
Yeah.
I just, I see a lot of
Mhm.
us and them and us, again, extreme versions.
Yeah.
But like I said before, I just don't think they will be able to get that communication where they can get to a good place.
Mhm.
And it is frustrating when you want your partner, whoever it is, to make a decision and they just say, either way, it's fine, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But on the opposite end, some people like Chris are just like that. And it doesn't mean they're not interested in what you want. They just really don't care. And that's something that took me time to learn. And now I know to say, I appreciate that it's whatever I want or you don't care, but I need your opinion. I need you to make a choice. And then he'll say, okay, here's what I think. And then problem solved. So, not to
Yeah.
bring it back to us, but because I see us and them and us, I just don't see them getting to where we've been able to get to because they are so much more extreme.
Yeah, I'm the same way in terms of like, show me, like, say something, yes, no. And I had like a male co host one time who said he's the same way. And in his mind, he thought he was making his wife's life easier because then you can make the call and I'm okay either way. But he realized that his wife wants him to like participate and
Right.
care and show like it's not just me doing that. So again, meeting in the middle somewhere. Okay, so the last we saw, they were not fine, but this episode, they are fine. And she makes, I think, is a joke where she's like, can we agree that Panama never happened? And they laugh. And I'm like, okay, I can exhale. I've joked on here, like every time I watch their scenes, I'm holding my breath. I'm so anxious. I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm going to get. But they laugh and I laugh too. So she said they talked about it, they clarified things, and she gets that it was not a rejection. He is attracted to her, but she heard something different. He tells her, I do want you and I want this. And she says, if she's being honest, he is actually affectionate towards her, but her past experiences are coming into play. And I think that's where she's similar to like Rhonda, where they're bringing their past experiences way too much into the current relationship instead of using that time to experience their current partner, learning about them and seeing how they can tweak and adjust and be with them in that way. So Brittany is going to show him her house. She's very proud of her house, of being a homeowner at a young age. And it feels like the beginning of a squabble because we see her packing clothes, very harmless. Nothing wrong with that. And then he makes a comment about it. But I will say though, when she was showing him around the house, he seemed very flat. But I don't know, was it just Will? Like, do you, was she valid in how she felt in that she felt like he wasn't impressed?
I honestly think that he was wrong in that aspect because again, she was very proud of her home, and I think she just wanted him to show the slightest bit of interest and ask some questions about like maybe a picture or maybe something else or maybe just about her background and how she got that. And
Yeah.
he didn't do that. He kind of was just walking around nonchalantly, just
Yeah.
looking at things but not making any comments. And again, there's a lot we don't see,
Hmm.
but from what we did see, that was the problem is he didn't show any interest in her house, and since that's a big part of what she's proud of, I think it kind of relayed to, well, okay, he's not interested in me because he's not doing this. So like that's the vibe I got from it. But again, I when we do the home visits, I think it's important to show interest and ask questions because that really gives you a look inside the person. Like when I visited Nicole's place, we were asking questions about certain things and kind of trying
Yeah.
to know their likes, and but he didn't seem to ask any of that. So
Yeah.
it was hard for her to digest. And then the one thing that he did make a comment on was kind of nitpicking and saying
Hmm.
she had too many clothes. So then she's like, really? I showed you all this and that's the only thing that you said? So
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought she was completely valid. The only, I try to justify every action. And so the only way I can justify his actions is he maybe does not care about his home dwelling. He's always traveling. He doesn't seem like he's a big, I'm going to
mhm.
decorate and care so much about where I live. So if he doesn't care, if home for him is just a place to put his hat and shoes, whatever that saying is, if he doesn't care about his house, he might not understand the importance of her home. But you knew it was going to be an issue because she
Yeah.
said at least 3 times prior
Yeah.
to the home visit how important it was. So even if he didn't care, he could have at least
Acted.
yeah, put his antennas on like, okay, this is important to her. Let me at least show interest. Even if I don't really care, let me at
Yeah.
least care as much as I can. So it was another scene that was frustrating to watch because you could see the fight or the frustration happening.
Yeah.
You just want to go through the screen and be like, Will, wake up. She's showing you something that's really important to her. Just react.
Yeah.
It's like ask one question to
Yeah.
show interest, at least one.
Even like, when did you get your house? Like, how long have you lived here? But I think this encapsulates their relationship. it could be a case of him just, you, even if you don't care, like you said, but she wants you to ask something. You're a smart guy. You can pick one question.
Right.
You can just ask, just so at least you ask a question. On the flip side, for her, they don't know each other, but this is Will. At what point do we say, this is Will? This man doesn't, you, something could be on fire, and he'll be like, oh, I'll just sidestep and go to my car. If I burn, I burn. It is what it is.
Mhm.
Where do they meet each other where it's like, I'm sure he cares, and he's just not showing it? Because he did say in one line, like, your house is nice. That was it. But I think Brittany suffers from not enough, but I think Brittany also suffers from, once she has an image in her mind and it doesn't match that way, she just crumbles. So I think, like, also with the marriage, she has an image like the marriage should be a certain way, should be this way, but she happens to be matched with a man like this. So instead of pivoting and like, okay, where can we meet in the middle? And then also showing him the house, she's like, I need him to, like, ask me questions, maybe shower me praise, recognize the hard work, but they just met. He doesn't know that, kind of. And because it didn't turn out that way, she absolutely crumbled. Do you
Right.
think that?
Well, I think that is ultimately what's going to be their demise,
Yeah.
because if that's really what she needs, and he's either never going to give it to her or give
Yeah.
it to her in the way that it might not feel genuine.
Yeah.
Like, if he really doesn't care, you don't want him to be like, "Oh, this is great. Tell me
Yeah.
more." If he doesn't care and he's just faking it, and she'll see right through that. So
Yeah.
some things you can meet in the middle and compromise, but it seems like that's something that's really important to her, which sounds silly. Of course, you want your partner to be interested in your life and things you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't show that kind of interest in everything in her life, but if he can't even ask you questions about your home, that feels like, where do you go? This
From
is the
there.
time to show up
Yeah.
extra.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, they just seem to have completely different love languages. Like, she clearly seems to be like words of affirmation type of person, and it doesn't really seem like that's his love language. It doesn't really seem like that's his type.
I don't think he has
He
any.
has no love language. He's
Yeah.
Yeah.
just blunt. Like, what? It's episode 6, and I don't know what Will is passionate. Like, what gets you going? I
Well,
don't know.
and again, she also just needs that reassurance and validation, and
Hmm.
he's just never giving it. So,
Yeah.
and again, there's nothing wrong with him or her, but it's just, yeah. To you, I agree with you. I just think they're just they're not compatible at all. So.
Yeah. And to what you said earlier, you were not able to ask a question about the house, but you had a lot of comments about the clothes she was bringing. So you are capable of making comments. So I
Right.
think that's what took her, over the edge, and her mood changed.
Yeah.
And he noticed that one. He made a joke like, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. And she's like, no, you're not. And then she starts crying, saying it's a big deal to bring a man to her home. And she was so proud to show him. The mood shift occurs, and Will is just like, I mean, I don't know what happened, but if something was wrong, she'll tell me. And I'm like, oh my God, Will, like, do something.
Pay attention. He's not present. Like, physically, yes, but mentally, he's like, okay, if she doesn't like it, she'll say it. If not, it's not a big deal. But that's not the case, buddy.
He's lead the horse to water type of person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, he's not gonna
Yeah.
find it on his own. You need to lead him to
Yeah.
it.
Yep. Well, he says he doesn't want to badger her, at this point. And I mean, I did ask the question, like, again, just devil's advocate. Is Brittany being too sensitive at this point? Is she expecting a lot, or is her expectations, which I think you kind of answered, is it
I
leveled?
mean, I think yes and no. It's tough because, again, this process no one truly understands except for the people that go through it, and it
Yeah.
just brings a lot out of you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, she wants what she wants, and she knows what she wants. I
Yeah.
think that's a positive for her. She really knows what she wants in a relationship, and she doesn't seem to be getting it. But kudos to her, is she keeps trying and she keeps
Yeah.
putting into it. So I will say that.
And she's been disappointed at every turn. So in the
Yeah.
10 days they've been married, she has not once felt that her needs have been met in that sense. So I think she is getting a little overly emotional, and maybe more than she would in a normal situation, but this is not normal. And he's proven that he can't give her what she needs every single time this has happened. So I think every time it then again happens, she's just even more frustrated.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I I think watching is very easy to say she's being dramatic, but really thinking about her mental state at this point. She's probably just so done and waiting for him to prove that he can do something her way, but
Yeah.
there's not.
Yeah. Overall, for me, I think the big crime is just if your instinct is not to be excited about your partner's like achievement or a house or how nice it is, like that's another nail in the coffin for that relationship. It's just,
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you every time you should be excited for me. Like, you should want to, like, don't even fake the question, but you should instinctively want to be happy and give me compliments about this.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I mean, I don't know what he cares about. Like,
So I breathe a sigh of relief when Pastor Cal knocks on their door because these two need it bad.
Mm-hmm.
They're sitting so far apart, and that's always a tell on the
Yeah.
couch.
it couldn't be farther.
Pastor Cal asks, what are the good things? And there's a long pause. And I'm like, good God, there's nothing going well here. So she shares that she wears her emotions on her sleeve and on her sleeves, and he's the opposite. She can't tell his mood, and she shares the house story. And Will asks, well, how do you want me to respond? I'm shocked. I'm like, what? And he says, I don't know what she was saying. And Pascal is like, it is not about the house. Basically, she just wants to know that you care about what she
Yeah.
cares about. And I'm like, 101? This is basic 10. We need his exes here stats. Like, what were you doing in your past relationships?
I mean, that's why they're past relationships. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was crazy to me that he didn't understand why that was upsetting. So that's even
Mhm.
worse. Like, not only did he react the way he did, but for him to be like, "What do you want me to do?" Care.
Yeah.
It's very simple.
Be chalant.
Right.
So Pastor Cal says another big problem is the mind reading and tells Brittany that he can't read your mind. And she says, like, yeah, she tells Will directly, I don't really know where you stand. I don't know where I stand with you. And when I do ask you, I don't get a response. And Pastor Cal tells Will, like, you can tell her she's a big girl. And you can see Will go like, I don't know. I don't know if I can really say what I want to say. And he brings up the whole intimacy sex thing that happened with them and how she didn't feel wanted. And Pastor Kyle says, what would you have liked? And she says, I would have liked him to say, I don't regret what we did, and I got you, and this is a safe space for you. So Pastor Kyle, which I really like, just asked him, do you want her? Like, directly, like, no fluff, no nothing,
Yeah.
like, do you want her? And he goes, of course. I'm like, again, show it. You can say a lot of things, but you gotta show it.
Yeah.
Will.
Say it.
Yeah, and intimacy doesn't have to be just sex. Like it could be
Mm-hmm.
holding hands, it could be
Mm-hmm.
bringing flowers, it could be a number of different things. So like,
Mm-hmm.
but again, I mean, I'll admit, I don't think anybody would like to hear from their significant other, like, I regret that we did that. So
No.
Yeah. Yeah. He's so extreme. I think that's the thing. His delivery is also poor. Oh God, it's just not a win-win here. And I think to contrast against Rhonda and Pat, like even when Rhonda is criticizing Pat, she actually deep down still believes that he does care about her. So they need
Yeah.
that base foundation, for them to move forward with that. So yet again, Will gives the reassurance that next time they have conflict, he will give her the assurance and the faith that he won't run away. She says she'll accept that in good faith and not internalize. Then they sit closer to each other. And Will acknowledges that he has to show excitement because it doesn't come naturally, but it's not going to happen overnight. And they have a cute moment where she's like, we like you. Do you like me? And he's like, duh. And he says, okay, we're going to the room. She says, I'm a lover, not a fighter. And I felt like we were watching foreplay here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
this is great. And he says, that's why we're going to the bedroom. We get some smooching noises. So I guess they're.
I think so. I
yeah,
mean, it seems like they just both have a lot of things they want to say to the other person, but sometimes you need Pastor Cal there to say it. So
Yeah.
maybe that was a reset. I don't know. But
do what married people do.
yeah, so he does.
you know, I want to have faith in this, guys, but I'm not. Again, not going to break my heart. I'm not going to do the
Same.
start stop with them. Next scene is going to start with her crying, and he's going to be like, "I didn't do anything wrong," and it's just. How many times are we going to do this before it wears on their relationship,
Right.
actually? And it's not going to mean anything when you make all these declarations and promises. So
Yeah.
I don't
Agreed.
know. So
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't have a ton of hope either, but I think it's more just compatibility than anything. But
Yeah.
overall, you know, they're good
Yeah.
people. They're just,
They're trying.
yeah,
That's more than a lot of couples in past seasons at this point would be like, never mind. I
yeah,
can't
it's true.
can't with this. So
That is something this season has. It's like they're trying and actually wanting it to work. Not like they're trying, but in their minds, they're already like, nah, I'm done with
right.
you. Like, I'm just waiting to say I'm done
Yeah.
with you. Okay. Anything else on Will and Brittany that you
Mm.
have?
No, they're just
Okay.
not exciting to me right now.
All right. Quick break. We'll be right back for Belinda and Chad. All right. I think Belinda and Chad are not so exciting. I don't think they get a lot of scenes. There's
Yeah.
nothing to
No.
pull from them. We see them moving in. He puts up like 3 pieces of clothing, and I'm like, what? What are you gonna wear? And he's not bringing his dog or his cat because she has a dog, and she actually wants to see how he treats her dog first. And she asked him if he has any concern with the dog sleeping in the bed with them. So I'm so glad you guys are here. I have a lot of questions. I am not a pet owner. I don't have a dog, never had a dog. What is when you both were single, how important was your partner's involvement, not involvement, like their thoughts, like what she said, how they treat their dogs? Was that an important factor?
Number one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was super important, like to me, especially. Like, if she didn't want the dogs in the bed, I can live
Mm-hmm.
with that. I mean, I obviously was okay with it, but
Mm-hmm.
luckily, I mean, for us, that's not been an issue.
We're
But
lucky
yeah,
they let us sleep in the bed
yeah,
with them. But I think it
yeah.
was one of the most important things because one, you can tell a lot about a person by how they treat animals. And I said the same thing. Like if I'm with a man who isn't dog crazy and doesn't want the dog in the bed and isn't taking him out on walks by himself and really acting as a dog dad, that's okay with me because he is my dog. I didn't know my husband at the time would have dogs, so I was
Yeah.
just open for anything. So I said, I'm not expecting him to come in and be like, that's my son now. Like that was fine with me. But if he was not nice to my dog or,
Hmm.
treated him like, why is he, if it was a point of contention, that would not have worked for me because he's family. I mean,
Yeah.
well, not everyone gets it. And I understand. I
Mm-hmm.
know some people are just not dog animal people and that's fine, but
Mm-hmm.
I am.
He doesn't like that. Who are
Right.
those people?
What you say about me? And luckily,
It's me.
yeah, he's like, that's me. We're the same way, so that's
Well,
great.
and it's funny because I have 2 dogs, and my oldest one is, I mean, he would leave me for her in
Absolutely.
and then, but the same goes for her dog, Charlie. Like, he just literally cuddles up next to me, and
Yeah.
she gets so jealous. She's like, he loves you more than me. This is
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like,
If we ever
yeah,
split up, we'd have to swap dogs because
yeah.
there's no way go with their original parent.
So, what did you both tell the experts regarding like dogs in your? It's not a preference sheet, but is that what it's called? Maybe. What did you
Yeah.
mention anything like you could
Well,
be with someone who doesn't have a dog, or sorry, it's a deal breaker if they didn't like dogs or if they were cat people, like things like that. Like, what did you
yes,
tell?
I mean, it was definitely a deal breaker if they didn't like dogs.
Yeah.
Okay.
She didn't need to have a dog. I mean, I
Yeah.
had 2 at the time anyway, so I had one for each of us.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I couldn't be with someone who, because there are people that legitimately like dislike or even hate dogs, so like that wouldn't work with me at all.
Mm-hmm.
Same. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm very allergic to cats, so my
Mm-hmm.
specific words were no, absolutely no on cats. He doesn't have to have dogs. He doesn't have to be a dog person, but he has to be okay with
Dogs.
dogs and my dog coming in as part of our relationship. So
Okay.
that was very important to me. And I had my dog wasn't even 1 yet, so there's no
Okay.
scenario that I would marry someone who was like, we have to get rid of your dog, or he is going to live like a second class resident. Yeah, he knows what I'm talking about. We have our neighbor's dog. Her name is Cricket. They run back and forth in the backyard, like chasing
Okay.
each other. So he hears Cricket, but
Okay.
hopefully he'll quiet down. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
No, and then I mean, at the time I had, my oldest dog was 9. He's 12. He's almost 12 now. So he was older. I've had him since he was 8 weeks old. So again, that was also like a situation where, you hear about certain situations where people are like, it's me or the dog. And if
Mhm.
she would have done that, I'd be like, it's the dog. I'm sorry.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Okay. Okay. And I think you answered about sleeping in the bed. It's not an issue for either of you, so it worked out for you
Yeah. I
guys.
mean, at times it's not ideal because of the hair and stuff, but I mean, it's hard to say no to them. And they get all cuddly and they do kind of cheer you up if you're having a bad day and stuff. So
But I can see people not
yeah.
liking that. So
Yeah.
I don't ever judge people for not wanting dogs in the bed.
Yeah.
And if my husband had said, like, I have no problem with your dog, but he can't sleep in the bed, that's fine, because the bed is a very sacred space.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
I totally understand that. But the bed is the only, like the couch, I'm like, we have a couch so the dog can sit with us. He's not a
Yeah.
floor dog. But the bed is the only thing I understand compromise on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. So he takes her what I thought was archery, but she calls it he takes me to shoot arrows from the bow.
Yeah.
So that made me laugh when she said that. It was nice to see them have a good time, and she's in his world and they do have a good time. She does say like she finds him hot, she liked it, and he says that, she says that he's showing his patience and he likes that she was willing to try. And this comes on the heels of him being frustrated with production. And then just I don't know. I think it's important what she said the episode prior. Like it's important that you not only are respectful to me, it's everyone else that's, around us. I don't know where you guys stand on that episode. Did you think that he was being disrespectful or did you think that he was just frustrated?
So I think there's a lot we didn't see.
Yeah.
I think he probably was more abrasive than what we saw because
Mhm.
what we saw was not much. I mean, you could just see he
Mhm.
was frustrated and they kind of walked out. But I think they showed what they showed because they needed to give the viewers a reason for why they just kind of got up and left. So like they
Mhm.
showed what they could.
And my
Um,
Belinda was so
but yeah,
upset.
but also because with what we saw, I was like, why is she that upset? It wasn't that
Mhm.
bad. If
Mhm.
anything, I would be like, he was actually kind of being like, hey, be respectful of us in this
Mhm.
Yeah.
situation on the date. But I'm guessing he was more abrasive than that, and
Yeah.
that's what upset her. But we didn't see that
Yeah.
because again, for her to break down and get that sad and cry and everything else, I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't think he did anything all
Yeah.
that wrong
Yeah.
because production can be frustrating when
Mhm.
they're wanting you to have certain conversations and stuff. But
Mhm.
again, um, but yeah, so my guess is he showed a side that she has never seen before that
Yeah.
was kind of scared her, in all honesty.
Yes, I'm with you. That was exactly what my call was like because I had Camille as a guest and I was like, why do you think they showed this scene? They didn't have to show us this scene, but I think they're showing it to us to set up for I don't know what may come later in the season. So yeah, they had a good time. She asked him like if today was decision day, what would you say? She goes yes. He says yes, and honestly, that was it. That's all they showed us
They
for
never
that.
show them really, but I
Yeah.
I think that has a lot to do with his attitude towards production. I think they maybe were not getting a lot of the conversations they
Hmm.
wanted to because I have a feeling he made filming difficult. But
Difficult.
I also think that not in a negative way, but they're just not that exciting,
Yeah.
but not like they're boring, more just they don't have a ton of conflict and they're not super lovey-dovey, so there's not like a story arc there. Right now they're just kind of going through the motions, so I think there's just not a ton to show, but they both seem happy. I didn't think that she was really feeling it at first and was
Yeah,
attracted to him, but then she says they're having sex. I'm like, okay. She doesn't seem like the type of woman to just have sex with him because it's her husband. So
Yeah.
I
yeah.
guess she is really into him, which is great. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the point.
And I mean, Chad overall, I think he's been the one that surprised me the most because I think when they initially showed things, I was like, man, maybe this guy does have kind of an attitude and some issues and stuff. But he's been all about Belinda, like super into it and super kind of funny. I mean,
Yeah.
you see a very playful side to him, so he's actually really surprised me. And again, they seem to work really well. And
Yeah.
she actually seems to be a little more reserved than he is. But overall, like she seems into it.
Yeah, I'm with you, except that I've watched MAFS so long that I'm just like, this is a setup. Like
Yeah.
something is great. If it doesn't happen, that's great because honestly, Belinda seems so sweet. And to what you said not long ago, Nicole, I think she's in her YOLO era. Like after she got married so young,
Right.
had her kids at 19, and she's just like, you know what? I'm gonna live for myself. I'm not gonna overthink anything, and I'm just gonna, do whatever I feel like doing in the moment. So I hope it works out for them, but I am holding my breath like, oh my God, is something going to happen with these two? So,
I
okay.
won't be surprised if they don't make it, but I don't see like a big blow up
Yeah.
argument or issue. I think they're both just working the process, which is what you want. So for
Yeah.
right now, we're just watching and seeing.
And I mean, he seems a lot more into it than her initially too. Like, just he says, "I love you" a lot. And so
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, I think I think they do appreciate. I think she's the one I think is really shy, not shy, but she's just very gentle,
yeah,
Yeah.
genteel.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. What I want to know is why did your three marriages fail? Like, let's get to
Yeah.
it.
I would
That's
love to have more info on why this is marriage number 4.
yeah.
And he's only what, 50 something? So
Yeah.
I have
Yes.
questions there,
Yes,
but
53. Yeah.
he
Mhm.
seems like a lover. I think he also jumps into like, "Oh, I love you already. Let's get married."
Yeah.
And it's
Mhm.
happened 3 times. So
Love bomber.
Maybe
maybe
he's one of those that doesn't like being alone
yeah,
too. He
probably.
just wants to be with someone. So, well, time will tell.
Yep.
Okay, Derek and Megan, 2 R's, 2 N's. I have a question for you. Does Megan remind you of Beth? Because there was an angle that she was, and I was,
Put that.
He's very like often says
I
that.
said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yay, Chris, we're on the same page. Because I looked at her, I was like, has anyone said that? It's like she just reminds me
Well, they
of
look
her.
kind of similar. They look like they could be
Yeah,
sisters almost.
Yeah. And the
yeah,
facial expressions, I can see it
yes,
now that it's been pointed out, but I
Yeah.
didn't see it on my own.
Yeah.
yes. And for you guys, is Beth season 9, just in case. Okay. So they're talk. Okay, I find them boring. I don't want to say it every time, but I have different guests, so I just wanted to. That's this couple, but they had a lot happening this episode, and they're talking about cleaning, and I'm like, yay, cleaning. And then he's like, I don't want chemicals in my cleaning products. I use white vinegar for everything, and you can see that Megan is getting annoyed by him. We finally meet Zoe, a much talked about
Yeah.
dog.
Cute.
So
Cute.
cute.
And he his mouth is saying that he's cool with dogs, but he hasn't had one, so he's nervous. But his body language is just, it would be better if we did not have a dog in the mix.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
agree with that? Okay.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I just don't know. They're including awkward silences and clown music for them. She's telling him that my dog is my everything. And the next thing we see the next morning, Derek is like, it was a rough night. Zoe kept barking. They got into an argument on who should be walking Zoe. And again, I need your expertise. Like you've mentioned, like it's her dog. They just met. And I do think a lot of couples are putting pressure on their partners to be something in 5 days. And
Right.
Yeah.
they just met, and everyone just needs to take a deep breath. What is the etiquette on walking a dog when you just met your
Well,
spouse?
well, first of all, I'll say that dog is not that big. So if he's not sleeping from that, I mean, we have like 100-pound dog, a 90-pound dog, and a 40-pound dog. So,
He's only 80 pounds.
well,
Give him
yeah.
he's been on a diet.
But still, like I'm like that. That's a very small dog. So if you're not sleeping, that's a problem. But I mean, I don't find anything wrong with asking your partner to walk the dog and take interest in that. Like I think it becomes an issue if it's a repeat thing that happens over and over and over again, and it seems like he's taking care of her dog more than she
Right.
is.
Yeah.
But that's not the feeling I'm getting from this. It kind of just seems like, hey, I'm a little busy right now. Do you mind walking the dog, kind of thing? And to me, that should be something that you want to do for your partner and step up.
Yeah, I also think it's the intention behind it. If she's saying, I'm running late for work, Zoe needs to be walked, can you please walk her? And
Yeah.
he says yes, that's one thing. But if she's expecting him, like, oh, now she's your dog too, go walk her, that's a little different because he said he's never had a dog. It is her dog, it's still fresh. I think personally she should be caring for Zoe and then them doing things together. Like, let's go on an afternoon walk. And this is
Yeah.
what we do. Well, it is also tricky, I'll say, during filming because we would kind of walk the dogs when we could. Like one of
Yeah.
us was filming an OTF, the other one would take all 3 dogs for a walk, and then we'd swap just so they could get out of the house. So it is a little tricky with the schedules, but I feel like if they can, in the morning, go for a short walk. After work, go for a short walk and get him involved in Zoe's life before just saying, hey, walk her. But if it was
Yeah.
a situation of, I really need help, can you do it? It shouldn't be that big of a deal. Like we would see Clint walking Hank, Gina's dog, almost more than Gina because she was at her salon all the time and he worked from home. So
Eris walked Jasmine's dog a
yeah,
lot too,
yeah, we would see the husbands walking the wives' dogs.
all the time.
Mhm.
And I understand not wanting to do that, but maybe even just do it to, even if it has nothing to do with the dog, just show
Yeah.
your wife, I care about something that's really important to you.
Yeah.
So,
There was even an instance where Jasmine's dog chewed up one of Eris's shoes, and he was upset, but
yeah.
he was out there all the time walking the dog too. So
And the barking, I get it.
Yeah.
It's frustrating if you're not a dog person. It's frustrating if you are a dog person. Like when our dogs bark in the middle of the night, it's frustrating. I don't care how much you love dogs. No one wants to be woken up like that, but you you kind of just deal with it. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like having it. This is actually, that's the point I wanted to make. He is so adamant about wanting children. He wants children. He wants to start a family right away. He wants 3 kids. So if a dog barking, a 4-pound dog barking in the middle of the night, or having to walk the dog on your own because she is unable to, is so bothersome to you,
Yeah.
how are you going? What is your expectation with these 3 kids that you're adamant about having? Because
Yeah.
dogs, I mean, from what I've heard, dogs are actually harder than some newborns, but
we'll find out.
we'll find out. Responsibility. So
Give us the update.
oh, I'm nervous, but really, that's honestly a good indication. Like I know Chris and I will be great parents, and I know he'll be a great father because he can take care of the dogs. And children are different, but I know he knows responsibility. I know he knows dogs have to eat, dogs have to go to the bathroom, they're crying. What do they need? So we already have that experience. So if he's trying to say he wants kids, prove that you can be responsible and just walk her dog. I mean, what does she do? Like one pee, one little poop, a 5-minute walk. Like she's not a high energy. It'd be different if you show up with a 110-pound husky golden retriever like we have. Like here it is, but
Mhm.
she's like a big gerbil.
So my two things about this is, for as much as Meghann loves her dog, I'm sure she had to have told the experts, I have to have someone who is
Yeah.
okay with having a dog. So I think he's fine with her dog. I think for him, it was not about the dog. It was just maybe the expectation of her just wanting that. I know, again, taking out the equation, like, oh, I'm not a dog person. If I was a dog person or had a dog, I would be like, I just met you. And I would think that the dog has to get used to, don't dogs have to like get used to the person that
Yeah.
they're around or not? And this was a day. This was
Right.
just one day since he came. And when Pastor Cal came, Zoe was like, don't touch me. Like she was
Yeah.
just trying to give. And I don't know how she reacted to Derrek or if there's even a relationship. So I think for Derrek, it was more about that expectation not being communicated to him. Like, hey, this dog, it was accumulation of things. This dog is going to be sleeping with us. He said it wasn't a conversation. He was told that the dog is going to sleep with us. Then it seems like she told him that you're gonna walk the dog like you're my husband. Like it's assumed that that's what he's gonna do. So for me, I feel like that was more his issue, and he just didn't know how to express that, and was just like, "It's not my dog." But
Well, I also think that he expected more of, okay, well, we're going to walk the dog together,
Right.
yes,
like, and instead of just saying, no, you're going to walk the dog. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
So I think that was part of it too. But it's crazy because this season has a real problem with spouses getting defensive. I'll say that.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
there's so many situations where they're not even, because to me, I mean, in Derek's case and even in Pat's case, I feel like they're being very calm and respectful in the way they're presenting things.
Yeah,
And then immediately, like, their spouses are getting super defensive with what they have to say. And, it's
yeah.
not like they're yelling at each other, but again, they kind of need to
It's the
take a
body language. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, I do agree with what you're saying. Like I don't necessarily think he was upset about the dog in the bed and walking
Mm-hmm.
the dog as much as the it being implied, but
Mm-hmm.
you could easily just say that. Like, hey, I don't mind walking Zoe by myself, but don't
Yeah.
expect me to do it right away, or maybe we could do it together. I just think it's another situation where they're not communicating. She
Yeah.
wants him to be a dog person right away. He's not. That's okay. But I would imagine she asked to walk Zoe and he was like, okay. And then came home and was upset that he walked Zoe. So, because then she gets all upset, like, you won't have to do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which she got very defensive. But I think because he said, okay, I'll walk her. And then later on, he's like, actually, it was a problem. So
Yeah.
I understand. Like, I would get very frustrated. Our two dogs would fight. Our middle dog is just an angel. He causes no problems. Our two dogs would fight, and it would cause problems with us because I would get so defensive.
Yeah, with Charlie.
And
Yeah.
it wasn't any. Chris wasn't upset with me. He was just upset with the situation, but I took it personally. Of like,
Yeah.
it's a reflection how you think of me as a dog mom. And he was like, that's not
Yeah.
the case at all. So dogs are a very sensitive topic for some people.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's good for them because it's forcing them to come out of that. They're both avoidance. I think they said that. And they have to talk about it because when the conversation started, she's like, you seem pretty angry. And then he tries to explain his situation and she literally groans in his face. She's like, and I'm like, what? I'm not going to talk if you're doing that. So he says it was surprising. He wasn't expecting to do these things alone. And Chris mentioned this earlier that you were running late. You asked me again. And I'm like, I said no, but I did it anyways. And when she does say, you don't have to do that again, it came complete with like hand gestures. It wasn't a, you don't have to do that again. It was like, you don't have to do it again with hands in the face and all that. And anytime Meghann reacts like this, where she feels she's ambushed, I need a definition. What does ambushed mean? Like,
Oh, I think this is another scenario where she's bringing it back to her past relationships because she immediately takes defense. Like, there's a difference between someone attacking you and someone voicing an opinion that isn't necessarily something you want to hear, but she's
Mhm.
hearing it as a super big negative. So I feel
Yeah.
like it's more of how she's taking it versus how she's saying it. But
Mhm.
then when they have their meeting with Pastor Cal, you can hear even Pastor Cal calls him out, like, what he's saying is not genuine at
Yeah.
all. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
it's his delivery and how she's accepting things. So she's also a lot of avoiders on this. You said that, it made me think, like, everyone just, I understand needing space, but everyone just goes for a walk and then completely ignores their spouse. They're like, oh, we're not doing well right now.
Yeah.
Let me leave and come back and make it even more tense. Like, just have a
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she says, I want you to want to do it, but if you don't want to do it, don't do it. I'm like, that's a lot of double negatives in there. He says it's new territory. I don't know what's right. I don't know what's fair. But as he's saying this, he's petting the dog. It's
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, it's not about the dog. It's just about them. And the dog is just what they're using as a representative for the fight. And he says he realized that sleeping with the dog was a non negotiable, but he feels like he's been compromising. And she's like, oh, and I'm not. And he's like, give examples. And she said the cleaning thing. And I'm like, he's like,
Or
what? You don't want to use
toilet
cleaner
seat.
products?
Yeah, and then the toilet seat too.
Toilet seat.
Yeah. It's crazy to me with these two. I mean, it's kudos to Derek for trying to voice and communicate, but you can tell whenever he knows they have to have a conversation like that,
Yeah,
he is terrified. Like, you can
terrified.
see it in his eyes where he's like, I do not want to have this conversation with her
Yeah.
because she does get so defensive. Even when they're paddleboarding, she did the same thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy because in this situation, to your point, they're like, what, like 5 days, 6 days in or whatever.
Mhm.
They need to be able to communicate.
Yeah.
And you can tell he's like terrified to communicate his true feelings.
Yeah.
Because if he does, then she's going to get upset and it's going to lead to this huge blowout argument. So I don't know.
Yeah. And she
I don't
said,
have a ton of hope for them either, but just
oh,
saying.
really?
Yeah. I mean,
Ah.
they butt heads a lot and
Yeah.
she seems a lot more defensive than him, but they just can't agree. It just feels like to me like they can't agree on things. So I
Yeah.
just, again, I think it's another kind of incompatible couple.
She seems like a tit for tat kind of gal.
Yeah, it's getting very petty with them also. Like, we don't need to bring up the toilet seat, the cleaning products,
Yeah.
even the dog barking. Like,
Mhm.
I know there's bigger issues there, but we're bringing up things that they're holding on to them in their mental filing cabinet. Like, when next time she says
Oh, that's true.
something, I'm going to bring up
Yeah.
this. And she's like,
Toilet
well,
seat.
I don't care about the toilet seat until he brings up the cleaning products,
Yes.
and then I'm going to throw out the toilet seat. So
Yeah.
I feel like they're just holding on to these things that don't matter because they're grasping. They just both want to be right almost.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually not necessarily that I have hope for them, like, oh, I think they're gonna have this great, beautiful marriage, but I think they could work if they just realize that what they're fighting about, not what they're fighting about is stupid, but get to the crux of what you're fighting about and stop being petty.
Yeah.
And it's, I'm going to bring up the kids thing again. It's mind blowing to me that they're fighting over a dog barking and cleaning products and a toilet seat. But then in the next breath, it's like, how many kids are we going to have? I want to start a family now. You can't bring kids into the equation if you're still fighting over things like that. That's insane to me.
Yeah.
I mean, ladies, guys are going to forget the toilet seat. Just saying. Like, it's going to happen. we learn. There's sometimes we remember, but there's times
Chris is not a toilet seat putter downer, but it was something that bothered me in the beginning. And then I was like, what do I care? He also has to put it up whenever he needs to use it. So why shouldn't I have, no. I can say it. Why should he have to always put it up and I don't ever have to put it down? But also, like, look before you go to, I get it. I've fallen in sometimes in the middle of the night. Like, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to cause a fight between us. I'm not going to make it a big deal. He already knows that he's going to teach our son to put the toilet seat down. Good manners.
Well, we're going to have a baby girl too. So.
Yeah, and we can't have her falling in, but I digress. Not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I do think that it's time. And honestly, a lot of these couples, it's time. The only person that I feel maybe it's a shutdown might be Rhonda.
Mm-hmm.
I just think she's just like, I don't know if I want to do this. But I think with these two, if they have time, they might be able to meet somewhere in the middle, you know? So
they need more help because Pastor Cal did great work with them.
Changed their life.
Like, changed their they were super close at the beginning. They got super far apart. He brought them back at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, me and her were like clapping. We're like, like kudos for the work he did there. Cause he called them both out on what toxic things they were doing.
Yeah.
And then they recognized it. And it was a really good session. I was like, this is what the experts are about. Like, this is why they're on the show.
Yeah. Before I talk about Pastor Cal, I do want to say that she said that she doesn't understand his aggravation, so it's hard for her to empathize, which I think was very important to know, because it's just like, why are you not understanding anything he's saying? But she's just like, I don't get it, so it doesn't make any sense to me. So she said she does recognize that she does things that are demanding, but she didn't realize that they came off that way. So hopefully that was a learning moment for her. She did ask him to, in the moment, say when you feel a certain way, say it. And he says, yeah, I'll do that. I don't think that's always a good thing. I am a say it immediately kind of person, but my husband is a take a beat kind of person, because sometimes you want to get everything off your chest and feel better, but you've dumped it on somebody else. And it's like, also you have to choose your battles. Everything is not a say it in the moment type thing. So I don't know. If
I get the feeling though that he doesn't say anything ever. So and
he's scared.
Well, no, I agree. I'm not saying I'm not saying it in a negative way, but I think because he's only saying things from what we're seeing, he's only saying them in a fight in front of an expert when she calls him out on it. So I don't know that he's saying things at all. I think he's kind of holding them in. So she doesn't know. She's not a mind reader. And then he blows up about things and she's like, where is this coming from? You had no problem walking the dog. You had no problem with her sleeping in our bed. You had no problem with this and that and the other thing. And then all of a sudden he does have a problem with it.
Yeah,
that's true.
So I get him being scared, because you don't want to tell someone something when they're always defensive. But if you don't say anything at all, you can't expect someone to change if they don't know. So I think they just need better communication and stop being scared. Also, if you're so scared of the person you're married to, then they're not the right person. Just period. Like, you're going to hurt each other's feelings. It's life. You're human.
Yeah. Nicole, I think you just answered the ambush question. I that's what she means by being ambushed, because she thought he was fine with the dog sleeping. He thought she was fine with walking the dog. And now you're like, well, no, I wasn't fine with it. You didn't tell me. You didn't. She's like, oh my God, if I believed that you were fine and now we're on camera, you're telling me that, you had an issue with it. I'm ambushed because I thought everything was fine. Okay. Thanks, Nicole.
Yeah,
well,
you're right.
and you hear about that a lot with people who've done the show, is that people are one way on the camera and another way off. So it
Yeah.
could be a classic case of that to
Yeah.
that point. But yeah.
I do have a question for you guys. I mean, you didn't have like a lot of fights in your season, but when they do have fights, what do they say? Don't talk about it. Wait till the camera. How do you stop yourself from talking about stuff until the cameras are around again? What
Well,
happens?
so in the shared space, the shared apartment, there are
Mhm.
cameras in there that
Okay.
they can look at, and sometimes they use it. They didn't use that footage a lot for our season. They use it here and there, but you'll see
Mhm.
that every now and then. So if something's going on and there's a argument that's not finished, they will usually cut to those. But I mean, for us, I mean, we also were. If we ever had any arguments, we didn't like going to bed still angry with
Yeah.
each other. We liked to make sure that we resolved it
Mhm.
before we went to bed because it's a bad feeling. I get some things you want to leave and be like, let's sleep on it. I mean,
Yeah.
Belinda said it with Chad, like I need to
Yeah.
sleep on this. But for us, I mean, I'm a big believer in not going to bed angry at each other. I
Yeah.
think it's too short for that. You don't want to be angry at somebody when you go to bed. So we always try to
Yeah.
work things out as we go.
And our problem was we were too honest with production because they would say, like, what happened when the cameras weren't rolling? We'd be like, well, we had this conversation.
Yeah.
And they would sometimes ask us to discuss the conversation, but it was never like pretend to have the fight again. It was
Yeah.
more like, so sometimes it looks like you're missing context because
Mhm.
people will start a conversation and they'll be like, so last night got weird, and then they'll just go into whatever happened last night and you're like, wait, what did we miss? But it's because the cameras weren't there, so they want you to talk about the
Yeah.
argument, but it's either resolved or it's not as heated, so it kind of seems weird because you're not in a fight and you're just regurgitating
Yeah.
whatever was upsetting you the day prior. So that didn't really happen to us.
Not really.
There were a
tough.
few times where we had to have conversations that we had already had,
Yeah.
but they weren't necessarily fights so much as just what
Yeah.
they deemed
I
important.
mean, and that was a big problem with the Denver season is so much happened off camera. Like,
Mhm.
so much happened off
Yeah.
camera. And I
Yeah.
feel like they also kind of, I don't know, I feel like that season they kind of rebelled a bit and they were just like, we're going to do anything we
I
want
want
off
to.
camera.
Yeah.
We would watch those episodes and be like, we have no idea what's going on
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
all these things happened off camera. And for us, I mean, we were also very much rule followers. So we're like, okay,
Don't talk
let's
about
wait
it.
to have the conversation.
Yeah.
And we did want it. It's tough because you want to have the conversation in the moment, but at the same time, they also want it on camera. So then you want it to be genuine in that moment. So sometimes you do wait to have a conversation until you're on camera, so it comes across more genuine. If you've
Yeah.
already had that conversation and you're like reenacting it,
Yeah.
it doesn't come across the same
Yeah.
way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Oh, thanks for that. And another random question is like the producers, are they people who reside in the state, like, in the city, like for you guys, Nashville, or are they people who live out of town and they give up all that time to be with you guys?
Well, mostly they're people that travel with the show. There are some
Okay.
local people, but for us, I can only speak to our season, but
Yeah.
we lived in it was like a short-term furnished rental building,
Mhm.
so you could just rent apartments for however long, and they had like 30 apartments, and the producers lived in the building, and they traveled in for however many weeks it was, and then they would
Okay.
go back home in between seasons. So
Okay.
that brings me back to the older couples like Pat and Rhonda specifically.
Yeah.
Not sorry, Chad and
Chad and Belinda.
Rhonda.
Chat around.
I think because a lot of the producers are in their 20s. Not all of
Yeah.
them, but some of them are younger. Some of them
Yeah.
are a little more like fighting to get drama and conflict. So
Yeah.
we were older than most of the producers. So I
Yeah.
would imagine being
That
much
age.
older and already being a little tense.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear what a 22-year-old, I don't want to hear them badgering me to continue the conversation or what else do I have to say. So
Yeah.
I could see that being for anyone. But
Yes.
if I had 40 years on a producer, I'd be like,
You don't
sit
have the
down.
experience to
Yeah.
give me advice on this.
Yeah.
I think you unlocked something again. That explains him
Oh,
saying, I'm used to being the one barking orders. Because I was like, what does that mean? But that makes sense. If someone's telling you, say it this way, say it that way, maybe that was his response to something that we didn't see that was up
yeah.
there or something.
Well, from that conversation, I can very clearly hear, like they didn't show it, but I could hear the
Yeah.
producer saying, what is it about her that makes you feel special? Tell her more. It's like, I'm trying to tell her, but you're jumping in. I got this. So That happened
Yeah.
to us quite a few times, so I get the frustration.
Our 1 month anniversary, the producers butted in quite a bit. We're just like,
Completely ruined it.
we literally like, what do you guys want us to say?
Yeah, at that point, it's like, what? Tell me what to say so we can stop filming, and we'll say it.
Put the cue cards and we'll
Yeah,
say it.
literally.
Okay, Derek, thank you for that insight. This is why I like having you guys on. So it gives context. Our after party, if you will. So Derek and Megan decide that they're gonna be all dressed up for Pastor Cal. I mean,
Confusing.
Interesting choices.
sequence. That's what they went for. So Pastor Cal's first question was, "How are you adjusting to the dog, and how does it work? For mommy daddy time." And Derek is quick to say, "I confirmed it's not an issue." So I don't want to know how. It's fine. It works for them. So great. And she says it's more like, she confirms that she wants to feel heard and she's a fight or flight person. I think I was a little confused as to, did you get any indication that she wasn't being heard? Was that an issue?
I mean, I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't
So,
so I didn't know where that was coming from.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
didn't either. But again, who knows what's happening
yeah, that we're
after
not
the
seeing.
Yeah.
fact.
Yeah. So Pascal says if you feel the need to fly, like Derek needs to know that you're coming back, and silence is communication.
Mhm. Yep.
Like, come on, Pastor Cal. So, so he does ask them to say something nice. What do you appreciate? What do you respect? And he says like he likes her work ethic, her sense of humor. But she says like he is aloof with Zoe. And he says, well, next time just tell me. And she was like, did you see his tone? That was harsh. And I didn't see it, but his body language changed, but I didn't think his tone was harsh. Did you think it was harsh?
I didn't.
He,
No,
he
I didn't.
did.
I did.
Yeah.
I honestly, I didn't think it was harsh. Like, I just think she automatically regresses to a place of defensiveness no
Mhm.
matter what it feels like. And
Mhm.
so, like, any little thing, she just gets on the defense right away.
Yeah.
And I think it's because she has some walls up that she needs to let down, in all honesty. And I think
Yeah.
that's a lot of why we really worked, and why I think when people watch our season, they're like, they didn't have any worries about us, is because we both went in it with walls down, just
Yeah.
ready to go. Whereas again, there was other couples on our season, it wasn't. Some of them had walls up, some of them didn't. But I think that's what's going on here. Is she just definitely has a wall up, so like she gets defensive on
Yeah.
almost anything that happens that she doesn't like the way it comes
Of
across. If that
course.
makes
Yeah.
sense.
And she was also probably on high alert because they had just had that conversation about Zoe prior,
Mhm.
extra defensive. And I did not think his tone was harsh at all, but I do agree that you could see visibly his body language change. So
Mhm.
his words, if they were on a phone or she wasn't looking at him, I don't even think it would have been a big deal, but
Yeah.
he retreated and you could tell that he was just trying to like not make it a thing because they had just had that conversation. So it was
Yeah.
clearly a point of contention for both of them.
Mhm.
And again, a perfect example of why the experts are brought in because
Yeah.
someone needed to point that out. And I'm
Yeah.
glad someone was there to do that.
Yes, he did. Do you think another thing for Megan is she's very conscious about how she's being portrayed or how she's going to look on camera? Or no?
Maybe.
Um, yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't know. Megan just, she seems very much like no nonsense kind of person. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like she's definitely not afraid to voice her opinion.
Okay. Okay. So, all I can say is Pastor Kyle earned his paycheck, and he
Yes.
reminded us why he's an expert because he did the thing, and made them cover all the things, say all the things, and hopefully they take those lessons and they move forward with that. So that was it for them. And the last couple is Josh and Jalen. There's really not much. They're happy as a clam.
I love them so much.
Yeah, they're a great couple.
They're infectious. I
Yeah.
think that's the word. It's like they're happy, they're smiling. Josh is so happy to have her. Jalen is receptive of everything that he's giving her, including making her go outside of her comfort zone. And it's great, you know?
I honestly was thought that maybe he would be too much, like too into it for her,
Mm-hmm.
but she seems to
Yeah.
love it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a perfect example of they remind us a lot of us because we went all in, and I feel you feel that from them. Like they are all in. Like there is
Mhm.
not any holding back. They're completely in it for each other. And yeah, to your point, like she is totally. You can tell she's not super adventurous, but she's totally willing to
Try.
do and
Yeah.
try anything. And it's kind of nice to see them do that because she's taking interest in what he likes, and then vice versa. And so like that's why I think they're really working.
Yeah.
I do wonder if that will be an issue though, only because of the way that it's being shown. Like every time he brings something up, they show her, she does it, but she kind of puts up a little fight, which I mean, I'm the same way. I I'm a little bit more adventurous, but if I'm doing something that I'm not comfortable with, I always make a big deal and then I do it and it's great.
Mhm.
So I can relate to her, but they keep making a point to show that. So I do
Yeah.
wonder if that might,
Yeah.
if they're alluding to something or if I'm just looking too much into it. But I just love them. I think regardless of what happens with them, and hopefully it all goes well because we're excited to welcome them into the club. But whatever happens, I think they're both enjoying the experience. They're taking it for what it is. They're
Yeah.
really open to it and each other. And that's what you want. Like I don't care if things work out in the I care, but the end is not the goal for me. It's more just are you embracing the process? And they
Mhm.
are.
Yes.
I feel like that's kind of the recipe for success. You saw it in Camille and Thomas. I mean, you saw it in
Mhm.
us. You see it in them. You see it in Woody and Monty, like all the past couples that are still together.
Yeah.
So it's just those people that are totally willing to embrace it, and then also just give it their all. Like you see a lot more success rate in them than ones that are a little more reserved or maybe like get in their own way kind of
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed, agreed. They've dropped the L word to your point. Like they're already saying "I love you" to each other. Josh makes it funny that Lovey's here and keeps barking at Chad. I don't. That was funny. That I guess the dog. And then Jalen took Josh to work. You know, she teaches at Cycle Bar,
Yeah.
and it's so fun to watch her in her element. Like when you see someone passionate about something, it's just such a great thing to watch. And I do want to mention, I had a guest aide who was asking and wondering if the cycle bar shut down because a lot of them shut down, and a listener sending saying like it did in fact shut down. So
No.
oh, that sucks. Um, but I have a question. When she introduced to the class, "This is my husband," do you think every single one of them had to sign something?
Yeah.
Yeah,
To be on
100%.
camera, you have to sign like a waiver
Well,
saying,
sometimes they have like a sign and they post it. So if you go in, you know. They did that when we were in Jamaica. I know.
yeah, but that's like if you're a patron in a restaurant and you just
Mm-hmm.
happen to be sitting next to a table. I think for something like that, those
They
people
probably did,
either
yeah.
paid to be in the class or maybe it was calm, like, hey, we're filming, come for a free class, invite your friends, whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know the situation, but either way, they had to say they agree to be on camera,
Yeah,
especially because it's a paid class. Like we did an F45 class when we were filming.
it's just us.
It
Mm-hmm.
was just us, but the people there had to be, they had to consent to being on camera. But I would imagine they were like, let's have a class when we don't normally have a class. You can invite your friends, people who
Yeah.
will, be cheer buddies. Because I personally would not go to a class where people were filming unless it was
Mm-hmm.
my friend. I don't want people seeing me
Yeah.
on a
Yeah,
bike.
because when we did the F45 class, it was right after they closed, pretty
Okay.
much. So it was just us and then the coach and then obviously
Right.
production. So
That would be my
Yeah. I think part of it is also they try to hide the identity of the couples also, but they
yeah.
obviously would know who it is. So I wonder if she also handpicked the people that
Yeah,
yeah.
I would assume it's like the people that are in your classes that you like and that you have a relationship with
Yeah.
because yeah, that's a good point. They can't if you just have strangers who go to Cycle Bar, they could be like, I saw them filming. These are the
Yeah.
couple. This is what was happening. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, Josh enjoyed it. He seems even more in love with her, seeing her in her element, and they're again happy as a clam. That's all I got for them. There's
love it.
nothing.
Yeah. I mean, they're honestly they're great. We always smile when we see them on there because they just always have a really good attitude. They honestly do seem really in love.
Yeah.
So I
Mhm.
don't blame them for dropping it as early as
Yeah.
they did. But yeah, no, I mean I have no notes for
No,
them.
no.
No notes. 10 of a
I
10.
do wonder, this is not this episode specific, but if he had the ring or if he bought it after he met her, because that is not something that you just have in your bedroom drawer just waiting around. So that was very
Oh.
nice. Well, I wonder if he was like, I'm going to give this to my wife regardless, or if
Yeah.
after they got married, he's like, wow, she's beautiful and so fun. I'm in this. Let me get
Yeah.
the biggest ring the jewelry store has.
For her.
Yeah.
My thought was he was influenced by Papa because he bought one for Belinda, and then he was
Yeah,
just like, "Hey, I might as well do that for her. Her mom gets one, so who
that's
knows?"
true.
Yeah.
The other women, you could tell, were like, what's
Yeah,
happening?
yeah, make them look
Where's Iris?
bad. Well, those are all the couples. I don't know if you have any last words for the season so far. Any other couples? Anything you want to say?
No specific things, but overall, I honestly I really am into this season. I I don't want to see a season where everyone's in love or a season where everyone hates each other. You need a little bit of everything, and I think this season gives it. I like
Hmm.
what we're doing here. I do wish there were after parties just so we can get more context, but I'm really
Yeah,
excited to see what will happen because at this point, I really don't know.
yeah,
Usually, we're like, there's no way they're going to make it. Like, I have my couples where I think, like Jalen and Josh, I would be shocked if they don't say yes on decision day. And then, like, Will and Brittany, I would be shocked if they do, but I can't with confidence say, yes, they're going to say yes or no about anyone. And I like that because
yeah,
it's keeping me guessing.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm really pleased, and
yeah,
it's nice to see a season where we're watching because we're happy, not because we're like, "Ugh, I guess we'll see what's going on this season." So that's refreshing.
yeah. Yeah, it is really nice. I do want to say, like, I hope MAFS gets more exposure now that it's on Peacock. I can't remember if I told you I had an episode where I did MAFS participants that I would like to see on Traders. I don't know if you would ever do Traders,
Yeah,
but you
100%.
We can do it in a second.
you were on my list. I was like, Nicole is gonna call everybody out, and
Absolutely. I'll
they
bring
would
the babies. I don't
they would
care.
they would murder you at night because they're like, she's too
I
smart.
will.
She's gonna know.
I'd be the first to go, but I don't care. Sign me up.
So, yeah. So before I go, who has your bouquet? I don't know if you have a couple bouquet, individual bouquets, but
Jalen and Josh, just they're a shining star. They get
yeah,
my bouquet. Do you have a different one?
No, Jalen and Josh, hands down. I mean, they're just a joy to watch. They remind me a lot of us, which is also really cool to kind of watch back. And
yeah,
yeah, hands down, they get it. I don't really have another couple I want to give out a bouquet to, but I would definitely say those two.
Yeah.
okay. I'll switch things up a little bit, and I think after everything I said, I will give it to Will and Brittany
Oh,
only because this episode it did end well, and it seems both are getting what they want, even if it's like through intimacy. But it's like they seemed happy by the end.
okay.
And I'm
Yep.
just gonna ride that high because I know it's not gonna last long. So for this episode, I'm just gonna give them that bouquet that they worked through all the bumps that they had
That's fair.
That's
go
fair.
through.
No,
Who has your ashes?
I'm gonna have to give it to Rhonda.
Mm,
I think she's I think you Chris said it perfectly. It's self-sabotage. I think she's so stuck in her own ways. I think she's great as a person. I have
yeah,
no issues with her as a person, but I think she's sabotaging this relationship, and I think it could be something really special. And that almost bothers me more than if she was a true villain and she, was just a bad person. So
yeah,
I'm just bummed with her that she's so in her head she can't get out of it.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would probably give it to Rhonda to one, and then Megan second.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
And again, kind of just I see a lot of the same thing with both of them. There's a lot of defensiveness, a lot of, I mean, especially with Rhonda, it's just she feels like she's more about herself than Pat, unfortunately, in this moment. So
Mm-hmm.
again, I don't know. I'm very, I guess, not optimistic
yeah.
about them
The
right now.
women are disappointed this
Yeah,
season.
they're
Usually it's the
disappointing.
men that disappoint us,
Yeah,
but the
it's true.
women,
Most men on reality TV, I'll admit, can be kind of trash. I'm not gonna lie, but
Yeah.
but no, I mean, yeah, I was getting stressed out watching Rhonda this last episode. So
he's like, oh, Rhonda. I'm like, we get it. You love Pat. He's like, I don't love Pat. I just don't love how she's treating him.
yeah,
It was very,
Yeah.
he loves Pat.
Yeah. I have to agree with you. Like, I think I'm going to give it to my ashes to Rhonda, but only because I am still so surprised by how she reacted when he spoke his truth. Like, it's
yeah.
just for
Yeah.
everything they've been through. Like, I can't believe it. So that
Well,
little piece of it.
and then the fact that she goes that she didn't feel safe. I'm like, he shouldn't feel safe. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It was like,
Yeah.
am I taking crazy pills here watching this? I
Yeah.
don't. Wow.
Yeah. And those are strong words. I don't feel safe just because
Yeah.
he said what he said. Yeah. So, yeah, so that was it. But always, always a pleasure having you guys. I don't know. Is there anything you want to share where people can find you? Anything you want to promote?
Um, we're on
Yeah.
Instagram. I mean, we don't really post that much. Growing two babies is kind of taking over our entire livelihoods, but I'm Nicole_Woolley. You can find any updates about our babies on there. I don't even know, what is your handle?
Thelky too.
Felky too.
Last name is Y and then a two.
When
Simple.
we first got married, it was like Husky Lover or something
And
for the
it was like
dogs,
Husky Thelk too.
and I was like, what
I
is
changed
this?
it.
Please.
Well, when I initially made my Instagram, I was one of those people. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make an Instagram about my dog, and then I was like, because I was late to the Instagram game, and then
Yeah.
then I changed it to be more about me and my adventures in my life, and so then I just
Yeah.
updated. But
You can find us on there.
but no,
Anything we do is.
and honestly, we do try to give updates
Mm-hmm.
throughout this. I know a lot of people follow us to like follow our journey still,
Mm-hmm.
and honestly, I will say there has been a ton of love out there that we've been getting, which has been really nice. I mean, it's been pretty amazing the kind of response that we've gotten. So
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's still so surreal to see that we see when you first met on camera and then see the life that, you're building and all the other couples are building too. And you see some of the kids too who are already like so
Yeah,
grown and you're like,
I
what?
know.
So
We
well,
actually today, so we did our maternity photos today with our wedding photographer, who we didn't know. Obviously, the
mhm,
show picked her. She did a 1 year anniversary photo shoot for us to make
mhm,
up for, because our wedding photos were so bad, and it wasn't her fault. She's an excellent, excellent
yeah,
photographer. It was
she's
just,
awesome.
it wasn't a photography shoot. It was production saying like, do this, make it awkward for them, whatever. Anyway,
mhm.
so she did our wedding photos, our 1 year anniversary, and she just did our maternity photos, and then she'll do family
Aw,
photos once we have the babies. And
aw,
she hugged me at the end, and I just started crying because it was like,
She cried too, though.
she cried. She was the person. She was allowed to go back and forth between our rooms at the wedding, and she heard Chris say that he thinks his wife's name is Nicole, and she heard me say my husband's name is probably Chris. So she heard that firsthand, and
aw,
it was just, and this is so off topic, but it was just such a magical moment to have people like her and you and everyone
yeah,
else out there who's just followed our journey. So it's kind
yeah,
of cool.
Well, and it's wild because fans and people have pointed out, like they're like, wow, Chris guessed her name and Nicole guessed his
Yeah.
name, and then they're
mhm,
like, also Chris guessed that they were going to have a boy and a girl, and they're having a boy and a girl. So it's like it's been kind of speaking things into existence. It's been pretty cool. So I mean, obviously, we wish we could speak the lottery into
We're
existence,
winning the
but
lottery now.
but
Right.
overall, no, we definitely do try to keep people updated, but at the same time, we try to keep things private too. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I literally had chills when you said that, by the way, Chris. You just said like you guessed each other's names and all of that. That's so great. But yeah, I mean, your guys' hands are about to be very, very full, but you are always welcome here. You are friends, family of the pod. So enjoy having you guys here all the time. So you guys know where to find me. Alta Call, MAFS on all of the socials, and give me a 5-star rating. And until next time, guys, bye.
Bye.